Celestia, the beloved ruler of Equestria. She was able to do many great feats over the course of her long life. But was she really the failure the fandom often portrays her as?
As Equestria's leader, she may have done alright, but she was not just a ruler. She was a teacher and a sister in addition to other things. Before determining whether she was a success or a failure, we should narrow the focus to her performance in one context.
I suppose so. She did very varying tasks with varying degrees of success over time, but the show mostly lets us see her as Twilight's teacher. Many of the adventures we witness start out as a task from Celestia for her pupil, starting with the very first one, the mission to make friends and defeat Nightmare Moon.
From the beginning, Celestia's conversations with Twilight gave me the impression that she saw her student more as a servant to shift her dangerous responsibilities onto than an apprentice. She provided her student with the vague instructions, make friends, but she knew that what she was really sending her to do would put her in harm's way. I mean, what if Celestia phrased it this way? Hey Twi, don't pay attention to anything logical. I need you to hike along a treacherous path with 5 random ponies to find these magic rocks in an old haunted castle, and then risk your lives fighting my possessed sister who I am going to release to run rampant in your world today. Do you think Twilight would have still wanted to do it? Probably not. Celestia had to disguise it as running some errands for her. This makes her appear both dishonest and ignoble.
The thing is that she actually had a decent reason for that. If she just straight up told her about the elements and how she should use them to defeat Nightmare Moon, she would never actually have made friends the way she did. Her keeping quiet has helped Twilight to see the worth in friendship. Otherwise she would have just made quote-unquote friends out of necessity, which would not have worked with the elements. I guess you could say that she at least shouldn't have put off Twilight's worries like she did. But if she did that, I don't think Twilight could have kept her cool, and it probably would have caused panic in her subjects.
Those are some reasonable points. Even so, Celestia was the one who banished her sister to the moon with the elements, and probably the one who released her as well. Why didn't she just reform her sister herself instead of putting her student at risk?
I don't think she could. I don't think Celestia had as deep of a connection to the elements as the main 6. Celestia mostly used them just because she magically manipulated them through her powers. The main 6 actively connected with them as representatives of the elements. Without that connection, they wouldn't have had the power to reform Luna. If Celestia alone had that power, she would have reformed her immediately instead of banishing her.
Ah, that's a very insightful perspective. So Celestia had no options to reform Luna aside from her student. Without using a bit of deception to get Twilight to make friends naturally, she wouldn't have been able to get her sister back. Nightmare Moon would likely have to be turned to stone once she returned from the moon. Still, I don't know that Celestia was always genuinely relying on Twilight for help. In The Return of Harmony, Celestia claims she is powerless against Discord due to being disconnected from the elements of harmony and needs Twilight to fight him. There may be substance to Celestia's claim, but what makes it debatable is that after the elements are destroyed by Sombra at the beginning of Season 9, it is revealed that the main 6 can still use their former powers. Logically, then, it might be possible Luna and Celestia could still do something similar and defeat Discord on their own for a second time. Whether or not this is the case, the excuses she makes for why she can't be involved sound like a cop-out. How is Celestia even so confident that her spell on Discord being broken is the true reason for his escape? To me, it feels like she's just hoping that's the case so that it constitutes her a valid exemption from fighting Discord. Even if she couldn't do much in this situation, she still should have tried to do something. In fairness, at least she's being honest here about what she wants Twilight to do, this time.
I actually don't think she could have been of much help here. Last time she used the elements to defeat Discord, and I doubt she can still control the elements now that they have found true bearers. And even if Celestia can still use them, it's only natural to let the true bearers use them instead of using the elements forcibly again. She knew that standing in the main 6 was the only true way to defeat Discord. Also, the tree is ancient. Not even Celestia can know all its powers. She probably didn't even have the knowledge that they would still be able to use the elements after their destruction.
That explanation does fit pretty well for why she didn't use the elements. But couldn't she have, at least distracted Discord maybe? Or poked him with her horn or something?
No. That would truly have been useless.
Anyway, when the Crystal Empire returns in Season 3, what does the princess who has lived to see its rise and fall and has a visual 3D map of the entire city inside her mind? She immediately calls her student, telling her she needs to take a test. Oh, Twilight, so gullible. Celestia reassures her sister that she has everything under control, but then admits to Twilight that the real reason she summoned her to the castle was that she needs her help finding a way to protect the Crystal Empire. Somehow, help turned into that she wants Twilight to do all the work for her, and there is no collaboration involved. Celestia butters up her pupil and then stands in front of an epic background and outright announces that she's on her own and slams the door. And then she just stares out her window and expects that the hundreds of ponies whose lives are at risk will be okay by some means.
She did want Twilight to deal with the Crystal Empire, but she at least had Cadence and Shining Armor with her. She sent Twilight to do a task she expected her to be able to handle with their help. It's still a little irresponsible, but reasonable to delegate those tasks while she stays in Canterlot. She could have been clearer about the purpose towards Twilight though.
That's true, at least she didn't send Twilight alone. And maybe Celestia's unwillingness to take the risk of going along herself was for the sake of the rest of Equestria, though she probably had more knowledge about the Crystal Empire than any pony else.
I don't think Celestia is flawless. She even admitted herself that she made mistakes sometimes, but she always did everything in her power to make it right.
Speaking of, everything in Celestia's power wasn't always enough, and as Twilight's mentor, it seems rather irresponsible of her to send her student on missions that put her life at risk without being able to do anything if she ends up in trouble. Discord did the same thing to Twilight in Season 9. He threw challenges at her that he knew she could overcome, but with his powerful chaos magic as a safety net. Celestia hypocritically picked on Discord for messing this up by losing his magic because she never seemed to demonstrate any comparable protection capabilities herself. She failed to save her subjects from Queen Chrysalis during her attack on Canterlot, and was even defeated by a child.
Chrysalis was able to beat her because she had gained power through Shining Armor's love, which came unexpected. Cozy Glow was only powerful because of Goga's magic, but that magic gave her so much strength that none of the ponies alone could face her. And she used the bell to take her powers, which is again unexpected and devious, as we've come to expect from the Demon Child. In the other cases, she was sure that she could jump in and help if it's actually needed.
I guess that's true. Cozy Glow was very overpowered in that final fight, and perhaps Celestia thought she would be able to protect her subjects from the Changeling Queen. We don't see Celestia fighting much at all, so she may have overestimated her own power.
We've talked about Celestia's not so great times a lot now, and I agree that she often wasn't really a good mentor for Twilight. But we still gotta give credit where credit is due. She ruled Equestria for thousands of years and has proven time and time again that she is capable, if not as a teacher, at least as a ruler.
I have to agree with you there. As Equestria's leader, I think she actually handles a vast variety of issues very well. This point is highlighted when Luna and Celestia switch places as a result of Starlight's 24-hour spell, and again when Celestia goes on vacation with her sister and leaves Twilight in charge of the kingdom. Princess Celestia's day-to-day life is full of many different types of convoluted social and economic issues, and for the most part, things always seem to be running smoothly in every city throughout Equestria. Infrastructure is in really good shape and shops are making business, yet everything is laid back and peaceful at the same time.
She indeed seems to have that part down. She even complains sometimes about her life being too boring because of it, thus bringing excitement to her life by, for example, inviting Discord to the gala, or going on adventures with her sister on her day off. She isn't only a princess after all. She is also a pony with feelings outside of royal problems. And I don't want people to forget that. She made mistakes, but that's natural for any pony. And she also did many things right.
Yeah, it takes a special pony to rule an entire kingdom, and it would be wrong to criticize her for her shortcomings without considering the strain and difficulty of her job, as well as appreciating everything she did right. Overall, Celestia's flaws and failures don't make her a bad leader.
I think that pretty much sums it up. We have brought her positive and negative traits to light. Thanks to Cantersoft for doing this with me. This was fun.
Of course, Doc. Thanks for inviting me to your channel.
Let me know what you think about Celestia and her good and bad qualities. Thanks to my patrons, especially to Winnie Bear and Maverick. Join my Discord if you want to discuss some more. And until next time, for the Bonnie Spoony fellas, and bye.